Hey, how is everyone? It's the early morning of Labor Day. Well, how's your weekend been going? You got any time to relax? Catch your breath from all this stuff? Well, I'm on Hal Lindsey's site. He's a nice guy for the truth. He'll reaffirm things for you. www.HALLINDSEY.com/videos/ He's got a little something to tell you about UFOs and NASA and a few other little things. Let's listen and watch.
According to the Mutual UFO Network, incidents of UFO sightings are up 67% over the past 3 years. That report follows a story 2 weeks ago in the UK Guardian bearing the headline, "Aliens May Destroy Humanity to Protect Other Civilizations." The Guardian featured a speculative study published by scientists affiliated with NASA together with colleagues at the Pennsylvania State University. The study speculated that human refusal to combat global warming might force aliens to step in before we wreck the whole universe. The Guardian article says that researcher Sean Domagal-Goldman of NASA's Planetary Science Division compiled a list of possible outcomes from a close encounter with the aliens. One scenario outlined by the Guardian went as follows. While aliens may arrive to eat, enslave, or attack us, the report adds that people might also suffer from being physically crushed or by contracting diseases carried by the visitors. In especially unfortunate incidents, humanity could be wiped out when a more advanced civilization accidentally unleashes an unfriendly artificial intelligence or performs a catastrophic physics experiment that renders a portion of the galaxy uninhabitable. A second scenario speculates on the possibility of attack by green aliens. Again, quoting directly from the Guardian report, green aliens might object to the environmental damage humans have caused on Earth and wipe us out to save the planet. These scenarios give us reasons to limit our growth and reduce our impact on global ecosystems. It would be particularly important for us to limit our emissions of greenhouse gases since atmospheric composition can be observed from other planets. Wow, former Vice President Gore would love that. He almost could have written it. NASA immediately issued a disclaimer. It said that while the report is real, it is not an official NASA report. Thank God for that. But only a speculative what-if scenario. Clifford Clift is a spokesman for the Mutual UFO Network. In a recent interview, he said that his organization has been averaging 500 sightings per month as opposed to about 300 per month just 3 years ago. He said that he is approached once or twice per week by television production companies wanting to do stories about UFOs. Observers say that about 95% of UFO sightings are easily explained, but the other 5% remain a mystery. But are they real? In the sense that they are unidentified and that they are flying objects, yes, they are real. Does that make them alien spaceships from other planets? No, I don't think so. However, I do believe they're possibly extraterrestrial. The Bible speaks of a mass deception that will overtake humanity in the last days. And the Lord Jesus said that the last days will be as in the days of Noah. In Noah's day, as Genesis chapter 6 tells us, fallen angels, sometimes called demons, mingled their seed with the daughters of men. They produced an unholy offspring called Nephilim in Hebrew, which by the way means giant. We know that fallen angels are capable of taking solid form and that angels elect or fallen are not bound by the rules of physics and motion as are we. Now, I don't know if these UFOs are angelic manifestations or if they're simply demonic deceptions. Now, does this mean that I believe that there are aliens among us? Well, yes and no. No, I don't believe that they're aliens of the sort that are depicted by the movies and by fiction. But yes, on the fact that there are extraterrestrials among us here on Earth that have enormous powers, and they're called angels, and the Bible talks a lot about them. Now, I believe personally that all of these manifestations, which are being seen by people of what I would call untarnished credibility, I believe they're seeing something that's real. And I believe that these are demonic manifestations that are seeking to create a whole atmosphere of deception, so that when all of the believers suddenly vanish and are caught up to meet the Lord in the air, the world will not know where they went. This will be part of a deception that will help explain why this happened. Now, when asked about the signs of his coming, in Luke chapter 21, beginning in verse 25, the Lord Jesus told us to be on the lookout for signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars. He predicted these signs would bring fear and confusion to observers on the earth. Jesus said that these signs would coincide with the budding of the tree, that is, the fig tree, the restoration of Israel in 1948. It was in 1948 that the U.S. Air Force began its Project Blue Book, an official investigation into the sudden flurry of UFO activity. Since 1948, instances of UFO sightings have continued to rise, along with arguably incontrovertible proof, including photographs and sightings by NASA astronauts in outer space orbit. This is also completely consistent with Bible prophecy for the last days. Having warned of the signs in the sun, moon, and the stars, the distress of nations, and having linked it to the budding fig tree, the sign of Israel, Jesus wrapped it up together in one sentence by saying, "And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draws near." The sightings began in earnest with the Project Blue Book in 1948. That was the same year God's fig tree was restored to the Promised Land, the year that Israel first raised her flag over her sacred homeland. Jesus also said, "Truly this generation shall not pass away until all these things be fulfilled." That generation is now into retirement age. This prophecy is simply saying that the generation that saw the birth of Israel will not pass away or die until all is fulfilled. Folks, I'm part of that generation, and it's near closing time.
Well, that's very well spoken and made many fine points. And that's a little bit of what I try to explain about no matter what is to come with Elenin, or what it brings, Nibiru, dwarf star, artificial craft, whatever it happens to all turn out to be. This generation won't pass away until all these things have been fulfilled. So there's going to be things that haven't been fulfilled, even though all these objects are going to be coming. So it's all going to play together. The way they come, what happens when they come, along with things that have to fulfill themselves before this generation can pass away. So what else did he say? He said, not Hal, but Jesus, pay attention to what's going on in the sun and the moon and the stars. So I'm going to have to go over here to this Neumayer Station and show you some things. This is from today. I came here yesterday about the same time, late last night, early morning, and it had an object in it and this has got an object in it, and it looks very similar to the one I saw last night, and the fact that it's here 2 times in a row led me to make this and show it to you. This apparently is the moon over here, the bright thing coming into the lower right corner, and the object I'm talking about is in your upper left corner. So I'm going to go frame by frame and bring it in. Oop, I went too fast. See what I'm talking about? You see that thing up there? Right there. See how as the moon is moving, getting brighter, that thing starts getting to be more noticeable. Then somehow you got something over on the left, the sun or something. We'll get into the sun here in a little bit. But you see that thing up there? You can barely see it going out now. Now look at the size of the moon here, and these are 10-minute frames. Look how big that looks, and then 10 minutes later it's just way out there, way out there, way out there, and it just moves way, way, way. I'm going to go backwards and show you all this stuff again. You can see this thing a little better maybe now. This thing right up here, that shadowy thing that's tapered looking, I can't make out exactly what that is, but last night it looked more like a rings of Saturn or something, like you were looking straight sideways at something that was almost straight up and down. But the shape of this thing here looks like it looks like a diamond shaped, or maybe 2 pyramids with the bottom sides up against each other. And last night it looked like rings, you know, kind of like straight rings like this. And I don't know what this kind of reminds me of, like the Norway spiral shape. I don't see any spiral to it, but the taper of it is what I'm talking about. So you can see it pretty good. As you see, I guess the moon over here getting big and bright coming into view. And I suppose this is supposed to be the sun. And we'll go into that here in a little bit. But you can see it becomes really, really bright close. And then just 10 minutes later, here's what we look like. There's that thing. It looks a little bit more now in that frame like what it did last night. You see the taper of whatever looked like the Saturn ring I descriptioned doesn't look quite as prevalent, so it maybe has turned, and it's not quite at the angle maybe that it was before. I can't really tell, but I know that it looks more like that in that frame, and more like that in that frame. It could be just getting a little bit farther away. But that is what the strange thing you will see at the Neumayer if you go there right now before this gets away, and you can see that. So I'm going to go back and show you some things about this site. What you can do on your browser is just type in Neumayer Station to see how it's spelled, with an EU and then Meyer with an A in front of the Y. Neumayer Station. And then whenever it comes up in the search results, it's going to say webcams at Neumayer Station. You click on that one. it will be for the Bremerhaven name if you see the address, but just click it and you'll get right here, and you get all three. There's actually three different ones. That particular one was this one, the roof of Neumayer 3, south view. And then you will also have a little synopsis down here to tell you about them, and they'll tell you part of the truth, they'll tell you part of the lie, and they'll mix it up on you. But it tells you about why does it go from black and white to color, and it's supposedly automatic camera sensors that change the film depending on the light. And then it tells you about the bright flashes that you might see or something like that, and that's the stuff that they have on top of the station. So they're covering themselves in a lot of ways in this. And then you will also see something that tells you during polar night, the only thing in the sky that is moving through the picture is the moon at times when it's visible behind the station. Okay, well, they've covered the moon. Although the sun is not rising, okay, they're telling you from where they're at in the Antarctica, the sun is not rising. The bright twilight can appear, and this thing refreshes on its own. The bright twilight can appear as daylight and can make the webcam switch to color mode. Okay, what was the words that they used? Although the sun is not rising, the bright twilight. Okay, so that gigantic object that we looked at, it wasn't the sun rising, it was the twilight, because according to them you can never see what it sounds like. You won't see a sunrise down there. You'll only see the moon. You'll see a twilight. Hey, it's their words, what can I say? But that's what you can see and find out, and they've got other things you can click on over here. You can go into photo gallery. You can find out some things about them. And you can see that they have under facility structures. There's the ramp. There's the ramp where you go underneath of it. So when you watch the other camera at the other angle, when you see the bright lights, it's not always from something shining on them. It's from them doing something somewhere under here and radiating out below the facility, as well as something that could be from the outside the facility radiating on them. Now these are just pictures that I took last week. I believe they're Thursday and Friday, and they're pictures of the moon in its current cycle. Now for me now, I'm not able to see it too good at this time. When I'm looking around about 8:30 or 9 o'clock, sometimes it's not visible. Tonight it was. But prior in my work week it wasn't, so I never got to see it till like 10 o'clock, something like that. And when I did, it had moved way over to the west-southwest. And this is the direction that this was in when I took these. That's another one. Now what it's been doing in Oklahoma, from my vantage point at least up until Friday, it was just headed straight west. I didn't see any north movement to it. I didn't see any north-northwest. It just like took a straight west beeline this time. And it began, from when I could see it, began fairly high in the horizon, in the sky. But as it went west, it descended down and fell off the plate, so to speak, in the horizon and disappeared. It got so low I couldn't see it anymore. And these is pictures of what it looked like whenever it did begin to dip low and did begin to fall off the plate where I couldn't see it anymore. It turned reddish. First it started kind of a reddish orangish, and I've posted pictures that I've taken before when it's that color. But as I waited a few minutes, I could see that the lower that it went and the farther west it went, the more red it got. And so that's what it did. It turned a reddish orange, and it just gradually looked more red to me. And then it fell off the plate and disappeared. Now tonight it was I believe it was a half moon tonight, and I could see it pretty good. And it was pretty high in the sky. And I just went outside and looked around, and it is a very excellent star watching night. I'm probably going to be up for a couple more hours looking at things and seeing what I can see. You know, obviously trying to see if I can see Ellie or not. But Mr. Big East, you know, the old big star in the east is now moved at this time of night almost right over my head, and it is bright. I mean, it is it's just wow. If that's Jupiter, wow, it looks really big over my home. That's what I have to say about that. But it is radiating bright, and it's coming through strong. Well, that's really what I wanted to say tonight, is that Hal had something to tell you about the Nephilim, the aliens, the fallen, and I wanted to bring that to your attention. I can remember back in the 80s, whenever I bought one of his first books that he ever wrote, and he's a pretty straightforward guy. You know, a lot of people like to tear him to shreds or whatever, but he knows his stuff, and he tells it straight up, and he doesn't have an agenda, and he's only trying to warn you some of the things that everybody else knows too. Knowledge is power, and to know your enemy is to have an advantage, or at least an even playing field against him. And so we know who our enemies are. They're the fallen. And no matter what happens, no matter what this stuff brings, God loves you, and He's going to help you. I still pray for all of us every day, and I still keep every one of you in my thoughts and prayers every day. I'm going to go ahead and let everybody go. Finish out this weekend and enjoy everything. Hey, it's Labor Day. Try to catch a little Jerry Lewis if you can on the MDA telethon. He's 85. He's going to stop hosting being the MC of the telethon. Tune him in for a couple of minutes and say goodbye to Jerry. He's put a lot of smiles on our faces, those of us that know him. And don't forget, Tuesday is the 6th. So be ready for anything just in case we catch something out of that alignment. So God bless you all. Have a fine rest of the weekend. If you have the day off tomorrow, enjoy it. If you don't have the day off tomorrow, I'm sorry. Mondays, I really don't like the beginning of the work week. So I feel for you if you have to go to work tomorrow. I'll talk to you later. I'm going to head outside and check some stars. Bye.